The Evolution of a Bad Boy, written by Susanna Thompson, narrated by Sarah Sampino. Chapter 12. Their kisses were so passionate that Celeste was surprised when Dylan didn't try to take it further.
I should go. I don't want your parents to catch me here.
Oh, I thought... Celeste trailed off in embarrassment after almost revealing what had been on her mind.
I just wanted you to know that you don't have to be afraid of me, Celeste.
He held her hand as they walked to the door. I'm not afraid of you, she told him. I'm afraid of what's happening between us. It's moving too fast.
Is that what the problem is? You think it has to go by some kind of time schedule?
Dylan questioned as they stepped outside. We've barely even started dating, and we're already... She didn't even know how to put into words what they had done. He continued to hold her hand as they walked down the driveway.
You're wrong if you think all I want is a one-night stand. I want to be with you, Celeste, and I think you want to be with me too.
She didn't bother denying it. But we're not in love or anything.
Society has fed you a line of bullshit that you have to be in love to enjoy sex. It's just not true.
Fortunately, there was nobody on the sidewalk to hear their conversation as they walked to where he had parked his car. It's wrong, she said.
Did it feel wrong?
She was glad for the cover of darkness, because she felt like she was burning up just thinking about it. No, but it is. We hardly even know each other. Dylan leaned against the car and pulled her close. He nuzzled her neck, making her shiver with the touch of his lips. His breath was hot as he spoke softly into her ear.
Do you think we'll want each other more later, Celeste?
She could barely speak, let alone think. That's not...
Do you want to feel how much I want you, Celeste?
No, she said in near panic. His sexy laugh made her heart flip over.
It's okay. You don't have to touch me. I just want to touch you.
Not now, she told him, before she realized what she was saying.
When? Do you want to come over tomorrow night?
No, I have to... She was in such a daze that she couldn't think of a single thing that she had to do.
How about dinner then? Will you go out to dinner with me?
That seemed safe enough. Okay. He kissed her lightly.
I've got to work tomorrow. Is it okay if I pick you up at 7?
Yeah, that's fine. She watched him leave, wondering how she had fallen under his spell again. Celeste spent part of the next day over at Lily's house. Her friend tried on dozens of outfits in her excitement over her first date with Alex. She was glad for the distraction, because she was starting to get nervous about her date with Dylan. With a jolt, she realized that this was only their second date. How could she let things get so out of control during their first date? She'd only had one brief kiss on her first date with Andrew. Celeste was determined to rein in her hormones this time and not allow Dylan to seduce her again. Lily finally decided on an outfit, and Celeste went home to get ready for her own date. She didn't know where he was taking her, so she wore a skirt and blouse to be on the safe side. Dylan showed up in jeans, but they looked new. He was also wearing a button-down shirt instead of one of his usual t-shirts.
You look great,
he said, echoing her thoughts about him. He held the car door open for her as her dad watched them leave.
How'd I do?
Dylan asked her with a smile after they were on their way. He still doesn't trust you, Celeste laughed.
Do you?
He glanced at her with his dark eyes. I don't trust myself around you, she admitted.
You're a leader, Celeste, not a follower. I think you always know what you want.
He was watching the road, so he didn't see her reaction to his words. She was beginning to suspect that there was more to him than she had imagined. He was certainly smarter than she had originally thought he was. On some level, she knew that people were more complicated than they appeared to be. Labeling someone as one thing was never accurate, but it was something that just about everybody did. She wondered what his first impression of her had been. "Do you think I'm boring?" She blurted out the question without even being aware that she was going to ask it. That was what happened to her when she was around Dylan. She did things without planning them. It was like she had no control over her impulses. He seemed startled by the question.
Boring? No, Celeste. I think you're smart and passionate. You like to keep people at a distance, but that makes it even more exciting to get close to you.
She studied him, trying to figure out if he meant what he said, or if it was all just a line to get her into bed. "Is that really what you think?"
Yes,
he answered.
Why? Who said you were boring?
"Someone who wanted to get closer to me," she said, not really wanting to get into it.
Let me guess. He couldn't turn you on, so he tried to blame you for it.
He glanced over at her and saw her gaping at him in astonishment.
It was an educated guess, Celeste. You already told me that nobody else has made you come.
"I don't want to talk about that." She shook her head to emphasize her distaste for the subject.
But you think about it, don't you? You want me to touch you again, don't you, Celeste?
His low, intimate voice had an almost hypnotic effect on her. She didn't answer, and she was relieved when he turned on the radio to alleviate the silence. Why was she continuing to go out with him? She had known what he was from the beginning, yet she had allowed herself to get caught up in his game. As he had said, she usually always knew what she wanted. Did that mean that she wanted him? Celeste knew that this thing with Dylan was going nowhere, but maybe she didn't care. Maybe she wanted what she could have right now. Celeste was pulled out of her wayward thoughts when they arrived at the Greek restaurant. She was surprised when Dylan was greeted by name by the waitstaff inside. Even more astonishing was the fact that Jenna was one of the waitresses. "Hi, Jenna," Celeste said, relieved that she remembered her name. "I didn't know that you work here." "Yeah, it's my family's place," Jenna grimaced. "I have no choice." "But that's wonderful," Celeste enthused. "They have their own business." "Yeah, I guess. Anyway, welcome. I'll show you to your table." She led them to their seats and took their drink order. "I didn't know she's Greek," Celeste said as she opened her menu.
Most people at school don't. She told me her grandfather was really mad when her parents didn't give her a Greek name.
Dylan apparently didn't need to look at the menu to know what he wanted to order. Jenna returned with their drinks, and Celeste decided on the gyro platter. Dylan ordered the same thing, but he told her that everything on the menu was good.
The place my mom works at is good too, but I can't afford it. She makes great tips working there, though.
"This is fine," Celeste assured him. "You seem to be really good friends with Jenna." She was curious about his relationship with the only girl in his band.
"I've known her since elementary school. She was in my class every year, and we became friends. We didn't hang out together once we got to middle school, but I remembered that she used to take guitar lessons. I decided to find out if she knew how to play when I was looking to start a band," he explained. She had moved on from acoustic to electric guitar, so it worked out great.
"That's so nice." Celeste thought it was sweet of him to seek out his childhood friend. Most guys wouldn't even have thought of having a female guitarist in the band.
"She knew that Alex played drums, so she suggested him for the band," he continued. "Danny heard about it from Alex, and we had our band."
"Danny," she repeated. "I couldn't remember his name. He plays guitar just like Jenna."
"He plays bass guitar," Dylan corrected. "Jenna plays lead guitar."
"Oh." Celeste really didn't understand the difference. "You guys sound great."
"Did you like our new song?"
Dylan asked. She flushed and looked down at the table. "Yeah."
"I wrote it about you,"
he said as he touched her hand. She was stunned to hear that, and her eyes flitted up to look at him. "Me?"
"I was thinking about you, and the lyrics just came together in my mind. It's never been that easy for me to write a song before. You inspired me, Celeste."
His gaze was too intense, and she had to look away. "You wrote exactly how I felt," she admitted shyly.
"Yeah?"
Even that one word was loaded with sexual tension. He cleared his throat.
"Talk about something else. I need a distraction."
Her body flooded with heat at what that statement implied. She struggled to think of a different topic. "I'm going to see my baby niece tomorrow."
"How old is she?"
Dylan asked. "She's only a month old, and she's the cutest thing ever." Celeste smiled as she pictured the adorable baby. "We're going over my brother's house. That's where my parents were last night. They were babysitting so Billy and his wife could go out. It was a big deal, because that was the first time they were out together alone since they had the baby."
"How much older is your brother than you?"
His voice was back to normal now. "He's 6 years older than me. 23 is kind of young to be a dad, but he loves it. Allie is definitely his little princess. That's short for Allison," she informed him. "Do you want to have kids?" Celeste asked suddenly. He didn't even have to think about it.
"Yeah, I do. Someday."
"Really?" She hadn't expected that answer. "Even though you don't want a relationship?"
"I'm in high school right now. Of course I'll want to have a relationship with the mother of my child. I don't think anybody wants to be alone forever,"
Dylan said. "No," she said thoughtfully. "I guess they don't." For a moment, she imagined a little boy who looked like Dylan and wondered who his mother would be. Then she mentally shook herself out of her musings. "So, do you have any brothers or sisters?"
"Yeah, my dad's remarried. I've got a little brother in Arizona. He's 5.
He smiled with obvious affection for his sibling. He talked about his brother, and Celeste shared stories about her brother. Their conversation was easy and comfortable until the food arrived. They enjoyed their meals and said goodbye to Jenna after Dylan paid the check. The pleasant mood continued as they held hands while they walked to the car. The atmosphere changed once Dylan put the key in the ignition and turned on the engine.
"Where should I drive you, Celeste?"
His dark eyes regarded her solemnly.
"I like being alone with you, but I don't want you to be upset, so I'll leave it up to you. Do you want to go home?"
Celeste was torn between what she wanted to do and what she should do. She gazed directly at him once she made her decision, but a slight tremor in her voice revealed her nervousness. "I want to go to your house,"